Thank you very much. And again, I want to thank all of our witnesses for your testimony. Your testimony, as well as your oral testimony, as well as your written testimony, shows just how complex this issue is and how critical it is that we get your expertise in getting it done right. I have just I have a lot of questions, but I'll just go into a couple of them. And first, Ms. Kramer, is for you. If I understood your testimony correctly, you said that you have some concerns about a de minimis rule. I'm not quite sure whether your concern was whether to have a de minimis provision or whether that we needed to get it exactly right. Could you explain what you were saying there?
In my written testimony, I did go to some length about it. The problem with a de minimis exception is that it is a way that there can be abuse and people can take advantage of it. That's really what the concern is. And so talking about setting a maximum number, having an income level maybe, having a maximum number of dollar amounts, whatever. And so if there is going to be a de minimis exception provided for digital assets, then it needs to be crafted in a way that is probably more specific than the current exception that we have for foreign currency.
All right, thank you very much. And Mr. Soto, you mentioned de minimis also. Do you agree with Ms. Kramer?
Our position is that a de minimis exception would make sense for this asset class. Ms. Kramer mentioned in her opening statement the kind of difference with currencies where you're required to pay in a foreign country with that foreign currency. I'm not sure that's the policy justification that underlies a foreign currency exemption. To me, these assets, if you go back to the Bitcoin white paper, the concept here is to create a publicly available form of digital cash and to allow individual users to actually take advantage of what blockchains allow for, which is this peer-to-peer value transfer. You need to have a situation where the tax burden doesn't make it completely impossible to conduct transactions in that manner. And so I think there are ways to craft a de minimis exemption that would cover concerns about abuse. But I think, for example, just real quickly, like when you pay for a transaction, for example, in a stablecoin, you also have to pay like a fraction of a cent in the native asset as a transaction fee. And those like fractional cent transactions also are subject to the same tax reporting. And these are the types of difficult tax compliance requirements that make it nearly impossible for individual users to use the technology.
All right, thank you very much. And Mr. Zlotkin, you emphasized parity, and I agree with that. I'd like to ask you to just maybe explain in a little more depth why you believe parity is so critical, and add to that your final comment toward the end of your testimony that we need to have Congress get this right, not just continue to rely on administrative guidance from the IRS.
I've been a strong spokesman of financial parity because I think that this is a relatively new asset class. We shouldn't be distinguished or otherwise penalized compared to financial services. Is this on?
No, it is.
Just pull the mic a little closer.
Sorry.
Maybe that'll help.
So we shouldn't be penalized compared to, there are a lot of rules that apply to financial services that do create clarity and durability, and those rules are not applicable to Coinbase and to other similar institutions. So I think financial parity is something that we've advocated very strongly. It puts us sort of in a level playing field with the rest of traditional finance. As to your second question about administrative guidance versus law, my own view is that the only durable way to create sort of a foundation for digital assets is to clarify aspects of the law that are unclear and put that in the code itself. Certainly we've approached the IRS, we've approached the Treasury, they've been very accommodating. In many instances, sometimes they've been inaccessible in prior years, but I think the only way to really create a durable system functionally to last as a real foundation is the law itself.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Nellen, would you like to comment on any of either the de minimis issue or on the parity issue or any other issue you think should be prioritized?
Yeah, just to note, on the issue of the parity, When you've got rules like for mark-to-market lending, where you're referencing securities or commodities, without any specific rule where the digital assets fall, it can then fall upon a tax practitioner, often a non-lawyer, to figure out, might this digital asset fall into one of those categories? To avoid that, and also you end up with inconsistency as to the interpretation, if there was a category of digital assets that actively traded on a exchange, would be added to those provisions, then we would have the definitive answer of, yes, I can identify this digital asset falls into that category. Then it does have consistency with securities, commodities, and certain digital assets.
Well, thank you very much.